You are now live.
All right, I see you.
You see me? Okay, great.
Look at that necklace.
I know.
Stop.
Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Judy. Oh, wow. I think it's going to be a packed one. You guys are coming in. Hi, gorgeous. You know, while I wait for people to join, I think, I learn every single time I do one of these. But one of the things you guys always want to know is about my personal jewelry. So I think I'm going to, while waiting for 100 people to join, which is when I sort of start the sale, I'm going to tell you about the jewelry I'm wearing. Starting with this necklace. And none of what I'm wearing is actually for sale. It's just my jewelry. I know, it's cut steel. So cut steel is made of steel. It was made in the early 1800s, like 1810, 1820. There was no such thing as stainless steel, so you have to keep these really dry. But basically, it's steel cut into faceted gemstones and then riveted to a brass plate that someone cut out with a little saw and then drilled, way before electricity, drilled about a bazillion little holes and then set each little steel gemstone in there. The thing about these is this jewelry was made to be like nighttime, dinner time, going to the ball kind of jewelry. So the best light for this jewelry is candlelight. And what I have on me is like thousands of megawatts of LED lights. So it looks cool. It looks kind of steely and dark, but if I had a candle here, a single candle, it looks like a disco ball. Like the glitter is insane. It's sort of how, modern diamonds, the round brilliant cut was designed in the 20th century when everyone had electric lights in their house. And it's designed the round brilliant cut diamond is designed with a million long spiky facets to glitter in electric light, not in candlelight, because people were having dinner parties with light bulbs, chandeliers, and that's how round brilliant cuts look best. It's not my favorite kind of cut because obviously I like older stuff, but it's a way that jewelry keeps time with technology. It's pretty fascinating. Anyway, around 1800, this necklace was made. Marie Antoinette, Catherine the Great wore a lot of cut steel jewelry. And I am keeping this one. There's nothing gold about it. There's no silver or gold. It's completely unprecious metals. But at one time, cut steel was extremely expensive. It's labor intensive. People say, I've heard that at some point it was worth more than diamonds or precious gems. That sounds like a little bit of a tall tale to me, but it's definitely a moment in time. It's not everyone's vibe, but for Christmas, if I backed out of these LED lights, you would see it get like brighter and brighter. Anyway, okay, so yes, I'm talking about my own personal jewelry here. We can also talk about my rings a little bit. Let's do a full hand. Some of these rings I wear every single day. Some I just put on for special occasions. We got these 2 memorial rings, the black mourning rings. Each of them is dedicated to a very specific person. This one's John Hyde. He died 11 January 1810, age 69. This is that sort of typical time that these were made. And this one's similar. It's got a white enamel stripes, which may have meant that Anne Page, who it's for, who died on 18 September 1804, aged 50. I mean, it's possible she was unmarried. White enamel usually meant unmarried, virginal, pure, you know. But dead people always had mourning rings in black. Black was the color of mourning. We know it. They knew it. 18th century, 19th century, it was just a black thing. Here's another mourning ring that has a weeping willow covering an urn and a tiny little panel with hair under it. See, it's glass with hair. The deceased's details are inside, engraved inside. There's a lot of reflection here, but it says, oh my God, I can't read that. 1805 is the year. Weeping willows always meant grief. What do pearls on a mourning ring symbolize? There's no pearls here, but pearls, little pearls usually meant tears and sorrow. Same with lily of the valley. They had little white blooms that kind of looked like tears. Weeping willow was literally weeping. And urns just became a symbol of mourning also. So this one's got all those heavy hitting mourning details. That's okay. Veronica's doggy is barking. That's fine. I feel like when you have a lot of detail going on your rings and you have a lot of rings stacked, you got to have one very simple band to balance it out. I've had this one forever. It's a 9-carat rose gold ring with a really simple inscription inside that says mother. Inscript. Super simple. It used to be a lot shinier, but I wore it every day for years, so now it's kind of silky and matte, like a ribbon. And this one's really pink, as opposed to this one, yellow gold. Lots of yellow gold here, but a little rose didn't, don't hurt nobody. This one is, I actually bought this from Butter Lane Antiques when we both were just like fresh little brand new baby dealers. And I think I got it for like $800. It's a giant shield-shaped garnet on the top. It's not for sale. Sorry, anyone who's joining now, I'm sorry to disappoint you guys. I'm just talking about my personal jewelry right now while I wait for people to enter the live. I usually wait until 100 people are here and then I start selling stuff. Yeah, I love Butter Lane too. Alex is a very old friend, and Lindsay and I just went to his wedding in Cheshire a couple months ago. He's just like, we've been friends for 15 years, and his dad was our mentor early on. And he sold me this snake ring, which is now worth probably 4 or 5 times what it was back then. It's got a great face and great engraving. Teeth, which you really love to see on a snake. A big old foil-backed garnet. The coolest thing, there's this skeleton ring that I've showed you. It never comes off of my body. It's a skeleton wrapped around the ring, and then there's some crossed bones. There's his skull. I know it's kind of hard to see. There's his rib cage, pelvis, legs, shins, feet. The feet detail is really great. And down here we have, crossed bones and an hourglass. This is 18 karat gold, and I wear it all the time, including when I'm like gardening. So it's gotten even a little bit less legible over the years. And then this is a piece I just got. I'm not sure if I'm selling it or not yet. I'm going to move my lights around a little. So much glare. This is called a planetary ring. I don't know if anyone knows what this is. Veronica, how's the lighting here?
Looks good from...
Really? You can see things clearly? Oh yeah, it's just like the lights are shining in my eyes so much that, okay. A planetary ring is a Georgian ring. It goes all the way around. There's a million colors there. It's all like a bazillion different stones. We got a pearl. We got a foil-backed chrysoberyl, which is, I think, the spooky green you're talking about. Emerald, name it, they got it. And the Georgians decided that each of the planets that they knew of in the sky needed to be associated with a gemstone. And that's what we have. Yes, Lenore Daly was a legendary antique dealer who died a few years ago. She had a great planetary ring. They're around, rarer and rarer. But man, I wish I could remember off the top of my head, probably the pearl is a moon. No, probably moonstone is a moon. And, carnelian is like Saturn. And yeah, exactly. There was a sort of key to it and rhyme and reason to it, but I don't know it. It just looks really fantastic. I probably will sell it eventually, but that's not this year. Okay, so that's the stack. This, and I don't change my earrings, so it's just the same thing always. The snake threader that we make, and some ancient Roman, lion or zoomorphic animal hoops in 22 karat that are on there forever and ever until I cut them off. Okay, cool. Let's start. We can talk about rules of the game. I think a lot of you are repeat people who come over and over. So we have 50 pieces I'm going to talk about. If you like something, you can request in the chat, you can request an invoice. Just say invoice, please, or invoice snake ring, or invoice, Roman coin. And then check your DMs, because you're going to have an invoice sent to you via a link. You can click on, use your credit card to pay, and that's it. You can't just claim something in the comments and expect it to be yours. You have to actually pay for the thing. We have a really elaborate and fancy and expensive website, so we're using the back end of that to create actual invoices as we go. And let me see. I am the one sending out all this jewelry from my studio in upstate New York. So it's going to take a few days because I got other stuff to do and kids, and I'm slowly clicking and whatever. It'll take a few days. I can't absolutely guarantee your stuff's going to get to you by Christmas. Also, UPS is in the weeds, so I can't vouch for them. But you're going to get anything you buy, you're going to pay $20 for shipping. That's going to get you at UPS. I send stuff UPS, it's tracked, it's insured, you got to sign for it, it's safe, we'll be able to find it. $20. That doesn't even really cover our costs. I think the average package costs us $40 to send in the US, but what are you going to do? Shit's expensive. What else? No returns, please. Just be sure you really want something before you buy it. And, you can request an invoice and not buy the thing. Don't feel freaked out. You can get an invoice, and a couple minutes later, if someone else wants it, they'll get it. So it's just kind of whoever fills out that invoice first gets the thing. But don't feel stressed. Asking for an invoice doesn't mean you have to buy the thing. Also, if something's on your mind, next week, ask us about it. We might still have it. I mean, usually we sell 90% of everything at this live event, but you never know, just DM us. We're very friendly. We sometimes have, doubles of a few things, or can get a hold of the same thing twice if you feel heartbroken, you missed something. What am I forgetting? It's pretty good. Let's do it. Okay. The first thing I have, bracelets. Bracelets are hard to find now. They tend to be expensive. There's usually a lot of gold associated. Excuse me. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this is also a personal collection kind of thing. It's a snake, quite a large snake. The cool thing is there's some sort of spring hinge mechanism in there. It's spring loaded. I don't know what it is, but it feels sort of elastic, and it has joints, and he's got a spiky tongue and diamonds on his eyes and a big garnet in the head. I've had it for years, and it is the thing I will never sell. Every time I go to a party and I'm like, I need to look good, this is the first thing I put on. And that I feel like this is going to be that in my life too. And maybe this will be that for you. It's a mourning bracelet. You know, I was talking about black enamel on the rings I have. After Queen Victoria's husband died, Albert, her beloved husband, this black jewelry, black clothing, wearing that for a specific amount of time to show that you had lost somebody became almost like compulsory for people in England and soon the United States. This is an example of that mourning jewelry. This crinkly looking matte, it's glass, it's not jet, it's glass, and it's called crepe glass. The engineering is amazing on this stuff. Crepe glass, C-R-E-P-E, like crepe paper. It looks to me like it was pressed in a mold to get that texture. And there were so many different kinds of black material that was used for jewelry in the 1800s. There was jet, there was gutta percha, there was vulcanite, which is like a cousin to rubber. There was French jet, which was glass, but called French because it sounded, more expensive. This is just pressed glass, hot glass poured into a mold. And there was a period in the mourning process, the first few weeks, where you weren't allowed to even wear anything shiny. So matte, like a matte finish, was something you would have to seek out. It's set, okay, first of all, it's $595. Again, if you want to buy something, just say invoice mourning bracelet or invoice crepe glass. For $595, this is, mourning jewelry from I put 1890 on here. It's probably closer to 1860. Just like my snake bracelet, there's like some sort of spring mechanism in there. I have no idea what it is. Can't see inside. And this is not gold. This is rolled gold, which is a way of, it's like a high quality electroplating. What's under there? Maybe brass. I don't know. But it's rose gold and black, which is sort of, if you're going to use glass for your mourning material, gold plate or rolled gold was the common companion. If you were going to use something like jet, or jet being the more expensive black material, you'd probably pair it with gold. It's just the way things were. But everyone lost people they loved. You didn't have to be rich, but you did have to wear mourning jewelry. It was almost like part of being in society, Victorian crepe glass bracelet, 1860s, I would say, $595. Wearable every day, no problem. The second thing on my list is, I try to put a little bit of tortoise shell in every Instagram live I have. Tortoise shell is not something anyone really makes anymore, obviously. The tortoise in question that made this jewelry is now endangered. They're called the hawksbill tortoise. Take off some of my jewelry. I never see tortoiseshell rings. It's a belt buckle, which stood for basically the same thing as the Ouroboros, or the snake, eating its own tail. The idea is infinity. The belt goes around and around. It never stops. It's circular. It's secure, just like your love for whoever you're trying to express it to. $395. If you like it, say invoice tortoise or tortoise shell or tortoise ring or whatever. The buckle even has some hand engraving on this belt loop. Kind of hard to see, but the size is, I measured it on my ring mandrel and it was a 5, but I wear 6.5 on this finger, and it fits just fine. And I think if you're between a 5 and a 6.5, it's going to fit you. Check out the oval shape. It's not round. That's on purpose. I'm not sure why, what the purpose was, except probably comfort. When it's on, it feels great. It feels flat, and I think it can accommodate a bunch of sizes. So I would say 6.5. Yeah. It's great. 1870s. It's got everything you want. This belt end is actually carved. It looks like it's folded over, but it's not. Trompe l'oeil, baby. And each of those little belt loops has a little silver grommet. I mean, it's cute. And you can see it's pretty dark tortoiseshell, but it has that telltale mottled look. I know. It's a stunner. It's so cheap. $3.95. Mid-Victorian. The detail. I know. And like I always say, if you're going to wear a bunch of jewelry, like a whole bunch of jewelry, you're going to always want to have something organic in the mix. All metal and stones doesn't quite look right. Okay, looks like that guy sold. I hope it went to Night Moves. Did it? Yes.
Yeah. I was hoping it was.
Me too. Okay, I'm going to take off my cut steel to show you what's next. Do you know about Egyptian Revival scarab jewelry? Guys, these necklaces are getting so hard to find. This is $750. We've got 5 real, actual, once living, now dead beetles. This is not gold, by the way. This is metal. Again, the way I am getting... I'm so glad you got it. The way that people got to wear trends of the 1880s or 1920s, which is where this one's from, is by buying jewelry and materials that wasn't 14 or 18 karat gold. Just like we do now. You know, you want to wear a giant gold bracelet and you want to get it from H&M for $10. That's how you wear a trend. And that's what was happening in like 1925 when this was made. So, all right, so 1922, King Tut's tomb was excavated. For better or for worse, you know? Some pretty fucked up shit. Yeah, you can see the feet. So here's the back of the beetles. Do you see their little abdomens, carapaces? I don't know, what's the word for that? The front of them, straight up, you can see like their heads, their bodies. It's a Eric Weiner hair right there. Why hasn't it tarnished? Because in the 19th century, they used, I don't know, high quality metal and used some sort of finish to keep it from tarnishing. Also, maybe someone took good care of it. I mean, I guess if you wore this in the shower, it would probably turn green at the joints. By the way, yes, $750. These iridescent scarabs are not how many mummies those freaks ate. Okay, seafaring, when she's saying people ate mummies in the 1800s, this was actually true. People ate little hunks of Egyptian mummies. Trying to remember why. People ate all kinds of weird shit. People ate like pre-Columbian pottery from South America. Mummies. People made paint out of mummies. I think they called it mummy brown, right? People just wanted a piece of anything that was exotic. And if they could put a piece of that exotic thing into their mouth and swallow it, they would do that. Mummy dust was in a lot of paint, yeah. I don't think it was actually pica. I think they just were so fucking into the mummies that they were like, put the mummy in me. Mummy brown. Okay, so for $750, there's not a crack, chip, or anything on any of these. And truly, I don't know what made these beetles so strong, but they look as if they were harvested yesterday. They're not dusty, they're not gross. And I have, I have a scarab necklace of my own that I've worn many times, and they're actually very wearable. The Victorians designed it this way, and by the Art Deco period, they were still doing this with great excitement in the 1920s. Maybe we call it the third Egyptian revival, importing these bugs from South America at a crazy speed, okay? These are not actually scarab beetles, but they're supposed to resemble or refer to the scarab carvings that were found in all these Egyptian tombs that were excavated in the 18th century by Napoleon, and then again in the 1880s, and then again in the 1920s. They are a lot prettier than actual scarab beetles, also known as dung beetles, which are brown and kind of whatever looking, but these are like iridescent and spectacular. So I think a lot of people in South America got pretty rich off of growing these and exporting them. There's no varnish on them. They don't have to be preserved in any way. They just are, and they just remain this way. Don't swim in it. Don't use body lotion or whatever, but the back, it's open so you can see that they're real bugs. But it's not like these beetles are going to touch your skin. There's a good 1/4 inch of metal to hold your body away, hold the actual insect off of your skin. But I'm touching it. Doesn't feel gross. It feels like a gemstone. It's cool and whatever. Okay, so $750, Art Deco, Egyptian Revival, scarab necklace. King Tut era, baby. Okay, next up is I did a pretty big buy from a Parisian dealer recently. And English jewelry is my specialty, but I can get down with French jewelry. These earrings are pretty nifty gifty for Christmas. They're little moons. They're French. They're 18 karat rose gold. They are set with rose cut diamonds and little sapphires in kind of star-shaped settings. They're called dormeuse, okay? And I'm asking $1,400. 18 karat gold with French hallmarks. Can you see that? It's a little stamp of a wolf's head or an eagle's head. And they're called dormeuse, which is like the dormir is the French word for to sleep. And these are so comfortable. You close them onto your ears and you don't think about them anymore. They don't stab you like a post. You can wear them and wear them and wear them. You see the sapphire in the middle and the 2 rose cuts on the sides. Let's see. Very cute. $1,400. This was just about the time where they stopped doing back to front. So you put them on just like 20th century earrings, but I'd say they're 1880s. So French. So very, very French. And they, of course, mirror each other just like earrings should. They're not, borrowed from a bigger piece of jewelry. They're just made as earrings in the, Belle Epoque. And let's see, we got a couple invoices out there, and the scarab is on my body. I feel like a lot of people were wanting to know about these emeralds. This is a ring I bought knowing that it was a Frankenstein kind of ring. It's $1,250. The mounting is 9 karat yellow gold from probably the 1970s. It's a Victorian revival, which is looking pretty damn Victorian to me. But the 5 emeralds, which total about, let me see, I measured 1.31 carat weight altogether. These are much older. They look to me like they were cut in the early 1800s. They're clear and watery and beautiful with no cracks, no giant inclusions. They're all a little bit of a different shape and size. And yeah, for $1,250. Oh, it's a size 6.5. 6.5. I hardly wear emeralds, but I really like this like verdant kind of new growth green color, which is just right for the period, 1820 or so. Yeah, it is kind of an absolute steal. So I have a couple people who wanted first dibs on this anyway. I'm just going to wear it for a second. But here are the details again. 9 carat. Oh, there we go, sold. Nice score. Never got that. It's like extremely cheap, and I love a Frankenstein ring. I like or a Frankenstein anything, as long as it's not too heavy-handed. I mean, I love a pristine piece as well, but you know what I mean by Frankenstein? Like people who mishmash jewelry together. I mean, I do it. All these chains I've been selling you guys, like these yellow chains with the, I'm doing a little work on these, you know, some of them, not all of them. It's awesome. Okay, next is, let's see, I did the Dormeuse. Guys, I love a wax seal. I love a wax seal. And I love the older, the better. This one's from, I mean, it's Georgian. I'd say 1700s, late 1700s. I'm talking American Revolution kind of thing here, although this is English. And the initials are RR. This engraving is just so goddamn precious to me. Oh, Mango Parade. The chain. Yeah, you guys are obsessed with the Niello chains. The Niello chain is coming up later, but it's $850 and it's, yeah, sure. Take the invoice. Okay, so the chain. I guess we'll move the chain to the top. People are looking for Niello. Anyone out there who's RR or loves an RR or just loves like a really, anyone who's into fonts, we got an very early 1800s or late 1700s Georgian wax seal in silver. Oh, no, wait, this is definitely 18th century. This is definitely 1700s, possibly early 1700s RR. $625. This one was metal detected in Norfolk, England. Yeah, it is in great shape. It came out of the ground. Somehow avoided being plowed over the past couple hundred years. And if you know someone and love someone who's an RR, oh, sold? Something just sold.
Give me a second.
Uh-oh, Veronica's in the weeds. Okay, so I'll put this down, RR, and anything that doesn't sell immediately, I'll come back to, okay? Like I said, I love wax seals. This is a wax seal unlike anything I've seen before. It's banded agate. Okay, so banded agate is basically a striped two-toned onyx. A lot of cameos were carved out of these from the Roman era on. This says VA, I think, or AD, or AV, or, yeah, agate seal. So freaking cool. It's $325, so there is a crack, but whatever, who cares? Someone used this a lot and loved it. I bet it has a hole here, so instead of putting a chain through the middle, it probably had a big, like, gold loop here. You'd put it on the end of a watch chain. Rebecca Rachel. AV, VA. Yeah, banded agate. At some point in the 1800s, people just started using it decoratively instead of using it as like a cameo material. And it is chic, chic, chic. $325. I can't stop with the wax seals, and also I'm a freak for all things Scottish. Fun fact, I spent a year studying abroad at the Glasgow School of Art in Glasgow, Scotland. I studied a year of textiles, like industrial textiles and textile design, and I had the time of my damned life. This was the year 1999, and it was, oh my God, it felt like the center of the music universe to me. Anyway, after a year of living in Scotland, I fell in love with it. This is $625. It's not gold, it's metal, but the engraving is fantastic. It's so well made. This is some kind of lyre or harp or some sort of, classical instrument. And it says dinna forget, which means do not forget in sort of Scottish slang, Scottish, accent. Can you see that there's still some red sealing wax in the D? Can you see that? So this was used well. And it looks like the surface is kind of stained. It's actually not. That's part of the color of the stone. But, oh man, that red wax kills me. I know, it's so tiny. It's mini. It's anyone who's like a Scotlandophile like me, or just feels like they have something to remember, didn't forget. Yeah, Outlander. That's $625. Again, if anyone's joining late and you want to buy something, you just say invoice Scottish seal, or yeah, exactly. JAA all day, has it right. And then check your DMs. You're going to find a link to check out on the back end of our website. Do it quick because a bunch of people are going to, be in line for it. Oh, guys, so many people love Scotland. I love it too. Another fun fact, Lindsay also spent a year at the University of Glasgow, her junior year abroad. We were there 2 different years, did not overlap, and we're obviously not business partners at the time, but she was my sister's college roommate, and shortly after college, we started a business together. Okay, so that was $292. What is $293? Am I missing something?
Cut steel chain.
Cut steel chain. Oh, yes. Oh my God. Okay, cut steel. Like I was saying, cut steel being a candlelit forward piece of jewelry. I am pretty freaking obsessed with it. It flies under the radar a lot of the time. People don't know what it is. Collectors collect it. Did mooning earrings sell?
Yeah.
They are sold, my friends. I'm telling you, like, if you want something, ask early. But, I mean, these Instagram lives are going so well, and there's such interesting response that I'm going to try to get the things that a lot of people like. I'm going to just try to get more similar things. Can never get the same thing twice, really. But, all right, so cut steel. How do you know it? It's super heavy. Feels like, sort of like, when you hold a piece of platinum jewelry, it feels heavier than it looks. Cut steel is a lot like this. This is a chain from 1810, maybe, 1820. It's got a steel dog clip to add all of your whatever. If you're wearing multiple chains, I feel like if you're a person who mixes metals, as hopefully all of you are, because it's the superior way to wear jewelry, cut steel is going to look, it looks nothing like silver. It looks nothing like gold. Niello is a similar thing. It just looks different. But even next to Niello, cut steel looks like far superior. Did the star necklace sell? Oh, sorry. Star necklace belongs to Mama. Mother is keeping that one. Oh man, it feels good. It feels nice and cool. Steel was still like, okay, I'm trying to remember like my metal technology. Like there's the Bronze Age, people invented iron, people invented bronze, and then steel was really, really used as like a skyscraper material, right? Later on. But in the late 18th, early 19th century, people were still kind of like figuring out steel. Like, what the hell do we do with this? Is this like the new gold? Is it just like something that should be a fine material? So that's what they did for quite a while. I'll give you a close up. It's long. It's let me see. I'm asking $1,150. Yes, ma'am. Here's a close up. $1,150, which makes sense. It's long. It's 48 inches. They look like beads, but are they beads? Yeah, they're faceted beads designed to catch the low light with some kind of steel like loop going through each one to connect it to the next one. Yeah, that's what's going on. Nice and heavy. Everything about it is steel, freaking rules, and it is sold. Have you guys ever seen that video of that Chinese woman who sells things on like Temu or whatever? Like 1 second at a time. She'll like hold up the thing and she'll be like, this thing, that thing, this thing. Do you know what I'm talking about? If Veronica doesn't know, then it's not. Then she's a very online person. If she doesn't know what I'm talking about, then it's just a weird feeling thing to sell things online and be like, sold. I'm not an auctioneer, but can pretend to be. Okay, next. Wait, what is sold? Did we sell the banded agate seal?
The banded agate is sold. The Scottish seal is sold.
So cute.
The cut seal. The moon earrings.
Mm-hmm.
The scarab necklace.
Scarab necklace sold?
Yep.
I'm a little sad to take it off, guys, and I'll tell you the truth.
The tortoiseshell ring.
Damn. Everything's sold?
And the crate glass bracelet. The only things that aren't sold are the emeralds and the RR.
Oh, the emeralds. I'm surprised. Okay. Sorry, I gotta get organized. Very important. Next thing is arguably the dopest thing on this entire lineup. Is it the most expensive thing? Maybe. It's $1,750, but it's goddamn cheap for what it is. It's a early medieval, like 13th century Fede ring. Fede rings are basically clasped hands, like a handshake, or hands holding each other. Can you see? They look a little skeletal here. It's size 8. It's not resizable. This was found in the ground in England, has been dropped on the ground and under the earth for the past like 700 years, possibly 800 years. It was metal detected in Norfolk a couple years ago, and as is the law there, they have to declare it to the government as treasure. Can you see? It's silver, but at one point it was gilt, so there was a gold coating on it, which you can still see traces of. It's size 8, like I said, not resizable, and someone at some point in the past few years resized it. I don't see a visible sizing mark really, but I think I did a few days ago, so I'm going to stick with that. Size 8, not resizable, so I don't know, my middle finger is like a 6.5. But around the edge there are letters. It's unintelligible to me, but almost all jewelry at the time had a religious message, so it's probably something having to do with, Jesus. Yeah, it's $1,750. It was found in Norfolk, so that is in the 14th century, Norfolk was the most densely populated and intensely farmed region of England. I think there were 20 cathedrals built in the 13th century. Many are still there in some form, ruined or not. Holding hands, the image of holding hands since the Roman era has meant friendship, fidelity, friendliness, alliance, essentially. If you were giving your hand to someone to shake, they could see instantly that you were not holding a weapon and that you were seeking friendship. And from that, the symbol of the clasped hands came to mean friendship, and then it came to mean marriage, betrothal. I don't know if this was a wedding ring. It seems likely that it was. But the ring I wear, that's from, 400 years after that silver ring, has a similar kind of super naive look, like those weird looking feet. A little bit cartoonish. It wasn't that people couldn't depict the human body in a photorealistic way, even on jewelry. They could. This was just kind of the style. $1,750, and if it doesn't sell today, I'm sending it to Lindsay, and she's going to list it for like $3,000 on the website. FYI. So if you're having like second thoughts, you can get it later for probably twice the price. I think I underpriced it. So I'll move on. Okay. Let's fast forward like 600 years. This is, okay, I've been studying and reading a lot about World War I. World War I is some really fucked up shit. Anyone who thinks about it or watches any of the movies about it, 1917, think before you watch that. It's going to ruin your month. Anyway, jewelry was made everywhere, including in the war zone. This is a World War I, what they call a trench art. So someone made this out of either like a bullet casing or shrapnel or, a piece of uniform or tin from a plate melted down. It is decorated with a piece of an English uniform button, brass button. It's got, the person who sold it to me was like, people made these using the buttons of friends who had been killed in battle, and you would sort of do it to memorialize them. So here we are again with the mourning jewelry, and this is indeed the English coat of arms with the unicorn and the lion, which stands for England and Scotland. It says Dieu est mon droit, and that means God is my right. God and my right, which is a battle cry that was supposed to have been originated with Richard I, 1,000 years earlier, whatever. It's size 10. It's a men's size 10, so it was meant to be worn by a man. It's probably made by a man to be worn by himself as a memorial, and it's $475. It's sold. I know, it's intense. It is intense. I have a second World War I ring. A little less visceral, but a little more visceral in a lot of ways. This is, can you see the skull and crossbones? So it's a skull and crossbones. It was not made in the trenches. It's not a trench art piece because there's a hallmark here. And the hallmark is, oh man, what the hell does this say? It's so hard to make out. It looks like some sort of animal. But Lindsay is the hallmark master. This is $875, by the way. Lindsay, the hallmark master, told me that this is an Austro-Hungarian stamp. So before Austria-Hungary bit the dust and became Hungary and, where did it become? Austria and Hungary. Correct me on that if you need to. My history is spotty in places because I went to a mediocre public school. But I guess sometime during World War I, Austria-Hungary was putting out jewelry that was sort of aimed at soldiers and soldiers' wives. And it sort of meant that someone I love is close to death because of this war. That seems like the best answer I could get from why this kind of jewelry was made during World War I. And it was made in silver because that's, an affordable material for a foot soldier. It's size 5.5, but it's resizable. We can do that for you. Just email us after the fact. It's pretty brutal looking, but also totally wearable. Someone has worn it quite a lot. You can see it's worn down a lot in all the places that stick out. Okay, a couple people are interested in that, so I'll just move it over. I'm sure it'll be sold soon. Next one, 297. Guys, I've almost sold 300 pieces of jewelry on Instagram Live. 300 pieces. The first show I did was like 4 months ago. It's crazy. See, I have these little numbers. This one is Q297. Q for QVC. Because when we started this whole deal, I was like, let's do like a QVC vibe, like this. So that's how it stuck. Anyway, we're back onto the wax seals. I'm going to lighten it up after that World War I heaviness. Anyone who knows a Mary is a Mary. This carnelian wax seal is for you. It's made around 1830. It's gold fill. It's $600. It's teeny tiny. It's just 3/8 of an inch. The seal part is 3/8 of an inch by... Your husband calls this millennial QVC. Why did I wait so long to do them? That's a good question. To be honest, I waited so long to do them because I thought it was cheesy. I thought no one would buy things this way. Like, I have never bought anything off of a Instagram Live or QVC. And I thought it was like, I think I said to Lindsay, I'm like, that's beneath us. Turns out it's the best. It's like the most fun thing I've done all year. It's made a lot of people really happy, and it's made us a bunch of money in a year where money was pretty hard to come by. I don't know where we would be financially if I didn't start doing these a couple months ago. So it was sort of like a last ditch, like throw the spaghetti at the wall, see what sticks kind of thing. And it's been a very joyful move. Also, I've just come out of this like postpartum. 2.5 years for me seems to be the length of time where I'm like an unintelligent zombie and can't access any creativity or joy. Well, joy for my kids, but like, as the working moms out there know, like trying to be inspired at work and care for a breastfeeding child is took me 2.5 years to come out of that swamp. And I loved being a mom. I loved having kids. I love babies. I love breastfeeding. I love all of it. But like the two did not mix well for me, let's say. So right around when my kid turned 2.5, I had this sort of like, oh my God, I feel better. I feel like I have some energy to do something. And that's when I started doing the Instagram Lives, because I felt like I have a little something here. It's not just like surviving. And also I missed handling jewelry. I missed buying jewelry, and I missed the inexpensive jewelry, because the way our business model is we're moving towards like higher end things, collectible, hard to find things. And, our jewelry was getting to be like, we had $8,000 pieces, $6,000 pieces, $12,000 pieces. And none of it was here with me on the East Coast. It was all like in the studio in Portland where Lindsay was, and Lindsay and Veronica had it, which made sense while I was on like a year-long maternity leave, and that had to be the business model. But all of a sudden I was like, you know what? I have this gift. And my gift is finding crap that has a really good story. And some of the best stories are these like not cheap, but like cheaper things. Like you can see how someone wore this for many years to wear down the silver. And it's like forensic, it's like doing forensics on an object. It's my gift. I want to exercise it. And this is the way to fund that. By gift, maybe addiction could be a synonym for that. So, okay, moving on. This is, aside from this medieval fede ring, I think did it sell?
It did.
It did, okay. It sold. Did the skull ring sell too?
Skull ring is still available.
Okay, cool. Aside from that medieval ring, I think this is the second coolest piece. Oh, Danielle, I'm so glad to see you here. Dorks. All right, this is it's hard to figure out what the hell's going on here, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, this is a 7 stages of man charm from the Georgian era, the 1830s. So there's 7 charms on here. They represent the 7 stages in a man's life as told by a character in the Shakespeare drama, As You Like It? Yeah, As You Like It. So they go from, here, this is what stages of life look like in the 1830s. This is a baby's, sort of like, it was a combination rattle and teether. It's made of coral. They really were actually made of coral back then. They would let babies chew on coral. Supposedly, like amber, it helped their teeth. This is $1,250. Second stage of man is schoolboy. So here we have a book representing that. This is not gold, by the way. It's pinchback, which was a type of like extremely high quality, I don't know, what do you call it? Imitation gold, like an alloy. It's not plated. It's like it's got gold in it, but nobody really knows the exact formula anymore. It was a big secret in its day, which was the early 1800s. It was the first really great dupe for gold, and it still is. It holds up really well. It's got a gold, like a high carat gold color. I think it's sold, but I'm also going to keep going just to show you. So that was school. It's not sold yet? Okay. So this would be lover. The third stage after infancy and schoolboy is lover. So it's like, I think this is an epaulet from a uniform you'd wear while you were training. This is a young soldier falling in love all the time. Here's the actual soldiers, the sword. And is this interesting to anyone? Or should I keep going, or is this like boring as shit to you guys? Okay, so I don't know what's next. Bow and arrow, sort of midlife stuff. Old man. is here, the glasses. I think there was probably another piece of glass here to make a full set of glasses. And then the final stage is like super old age. So there's a cane, 7 of them. It's so cool. It shows like what were the essential items for people in different stages of life in the 1830s. Most of these do not exist. Do we have epaulets anymore? No. Do we have like swords, bow and arrow, coral teether? Like almost nothing has remained the same, and these were so important back then. 1250 pinchbeck 7 stages of man pendant. It was a thing in the 1830s to have these. Lindsay has one in gold that's been jealous of since the day she bought it. But I've never seen another gold one, so pinchbeck is about as good as it gets, and this is a good price for what it is. Okay, next up is the Roman stuff. Are you ready? I have on a sample coin. I have a friend, a metal detector friend, in England who is like a giant. You guys think we're nerds? We've got a real nerd in coin collectors and like archaeology nerds. He is my drug dealer pipeline to the ancient Roman artifacts. And so I bought a whole bunch of coins from him, ongoing relationship. It's casual. And I used my partner's drill to drill through the top and put little rings on. So now they're necklaces. I'm selling them without the chains, but if you want a chain, if you want a silver chain, let me know in the DMs and I can give you one for free. Like 16 inches, 18 inches, whatever. Silver, I have a whole roll of silver chain left over from like our early days of manufacturing jewelry for like Urban Outfitters. So free silver chains if you want one. Okay, first coin. And a huge nerd metal detector friend. Oh baby. You know, one of the true gift is finding shit. And finding the freaks who have the good stuff. Access. I'm just, everyone has access to everything. We're just depends on how persistent you are, how many questions you can ask with someone tolerating them. Okay, so this first one, most of these are $495. I've been selling them for $595, but now they're $495 because I got a bulk order. So I'm passing that savings on to you dudes. $495. This is a Roman denarius from the year 198. We know exactly when it was minted, when it was pressed in silver. The ruler was Hadrian. Here he is, Hadrian. The guy who built Hadrian's Wall around England. And does anyone know about the north of England and Hadrian's Wall? You can go visit. The north of England has like an incredible Viking history and Roman history. You can take a train through, like, when we go from London to Manchester, you take the Pennines Express and you're passing Roman aqueducts. Just like crumbling Roman aqueducts in people's sheep fields. I'm like plastered to the window on the train and no one else gives a shit. Everyone's looking at their phone. But the Romans were occupying Britain for almost 400 years. They spent a lot of time there. They set up families and farms and a whole civilization there. They built the roads, they built the aqueducts, and they dropped a lot of stuff on the ground. So this has been underground for almost 2,000 years. Hold on, I lost my notes. These are my show notes. Okay, so here's Hadrian. He wanted to be associated with a god or a goddess to send a message to the realm. His goddess he chose was Pudicitia, Pudicitia, who was the goddess of kind of modesty You can see she's wearing a veil, very modest, very demure. She's sitting in a chair. She represented kind of like sexual modesty is what it was, which was Roman women were supposed to be very modest. They actually weren't, and they had a lot more access to power than women would over the next several millennia. All the coins here are metal detected from England, all of them, every single one, and recorded, as is the law. But honestly, Roman coins are like, museums don't want them. They're not actually that rare. The Romans were in Britain longer than the Europeans were in America. It's kind of crazy. Oh yeah, beef drippings, always a favorite. This, been using that for almost 20 years. Anyway, Pudicitia was sexual modesty kind of, but she was more representing the Roman woman who had a lot of obligations and a lot of things were expected of her, and she was sort of the ideal woman. And that's who she is. $495. Hadrian is sold. So let's move on to Mars. Mars is the god who appears on this. Ooh. You guys mind if I take a minute and plug in my light? Or maybe the light's even better like this. I don't know. Nope. Most certainly worse. Give me a second, okay? Here's Mars. Anyone want to chime in about who Mars was? He was the god of war, but as my notes say, he was also associated with agriculture. He was an agricultural guardian. Most of his festivals were held in the month of March, which is why March is, in our world, named after the god Mars. Here's the Emperor Caracalla. I'm not sure about pronunciation. I don't really care that much about who the emperor was. I'm much more interested in the god or goddess they chose to be associated with. It was really a great piece of I think I keep saying this every Instagram live, propaganda to be like, hey, you like the god Mars? You can have him in your pocket. And Kim Arnold, yes. The geekiness. Oh my God, I've gotten some enthusiastic emails. But also, the gods and the goddesses were the most important thing back then. Sort of like in the Middle Ages, Jesus was like numero uno in everyone's life. If you were on the fence about Caracalla and didn't know if he was like a good dude, first of all, you knew what he looked like now, even if you lived 1,000 miles away in another part of the empire. But you also knew that Mars was the god of war, and Caracalla and Mars were on the same coin, two sides of the same coin, let's say. And so there's letters here. It's hard to make out, but it says Marti Voltori, which means to Mars, the Avenger. Pretty badass. Sold. Next up is the one I'm wearing. It's my example. It's weirdly, this coin I spent like 3 times more than I did on any other coin. So I'm only making a tiny bit of markup on it because I didn't feel like I could charge you like $1,000 for it. But I just felt really moved by the imagery, which was unlike any other imagery. So there's 2 hands. And it's from the year 79. It's a denarius. It's silver, like all the other coins. And okay, here it says Princeps Iventivus or Iventvivus. I don't know. I really don't know how the fuck to say that. But it was an honorary title given to young princes in the imperial family who were destined to rule. So there's some young, very young prince that they're celebrating here. Here he is as Caesar. This was, I think, Julius Caesar, which is not what this young prince looked like. But here are two hands holding the Aquila. So anyone who knows about Rome or has seen the HBO TV show Rome, in the very first episode, the imperial eagle, which is like the symbol of the Roman military, stolen. And this is almost like a war crime. It's the Roman eagle is so important as a symbol to the Roman, I don't know, power. So these two hands are holding the Roman eagle. And whoever just asked me how I decide where to drill the holes, I regret where I drilled this hole a little bit because I sort of drilled right through the actual bird part of the eagle, but he's being held on a long staff. Oh, does my metal detector, I know the neck workout. I don't know what the fuck this is just like, they were trying to convey power here. And Regina, I don't know about my metal detector guy. I'm not about to ask him any questions because I don't have that kind of time. But there are these two women who have a great newsletter called Roman Found, ROMAN, Found. And they actually make their money off like metal detecting affiliate links. Like they have a metal detecting whole business where they go around England, find this stuff, teach about it. Actually, it's been like a huge inspiration for me. So they know all about what metal detectors to buy. Yeah, Roman Found. They're cool. They're just like so cool. And I wish I could go metal detecting with them. Okay, so hands most likely sold. Put that here. And here are remaining pieces. Okay. Next up, I have two different Venus coins. Okay. There's a ring method to making coins into pendants, but then you conceal part of the edge. Yeah, I know, but I don't want to go through the whole, I don't know. It just looks fussy to me, I like this better, and this makes me feel a lot closer to my early 2000s making charms out of hardware roots. And did I miss how I decide where to place the hole? Well, usually I find the goddess side, the god or goddess. So here's the emperor or the empress. Actually, her name was Julia Soaemias. She ruled from 220, or I don't know how long she ruled, but this coin was made between 220 and 222 AD in silver. Almost all these female rulers decided to, can we buy the bare coins, no hole? No, you know what? I'm going to keep doing it like this, but you can always Google this. These are not, I forget who said, maybe Kim, there is a huge amount of Roman coins in circulation. There were a lot of Romans, and they all had coins, and I don't know. You can definitely scrub the internet to find something that you like too. Oh, this piece is fucking awesome. So the way I decided how to drill the hole, I usually try to not get right through the goddess's head, but somewhere nearby. And, I decide to sort of make the emperor upside down. Just making a choice, just an aesthetic choice. Anyway, this is a denarius that has the words Venus Caelestis, which means celestial or heavenly Venus. She holds an apple in her hand. Can you see that? And a scepter. And you see this coolest thing is there's a star on the right side. Do you see that star? Lower right. It's like a 6-pointed star. Venus Caelestis means, so heavenly Venus was one of the aspects of Venus. It has to do with, oh my God, it was sort of a later 2nd century. I think by that point, Venus had a lot of almost like conflicting aspects about her. So they rebirthed her as Venus Calestis with like some new qualities. And it was sort of, they cleaned up the Venus image from what I understand there. Second Venus on sale is a Julia Domna silver denarius. I love this ruler. She had the best coins. She also had really great hair and has different hairstyles in each of her coins. This one was minted in 194 AD, and it's really nice and like silky from wear. So here's Venus. It says Veneri Victor, Victr, which means to Venus the victorious. She's leaning on a column, and she's holding a palm branch, and here's an apple in her hand. Venus loved apples. Can you see it up top? This was a choice I had to make about where to drill. I didn't want to drill through her head, so I was like, oh, it's going to hang a little sideways, but I think it works just fine. She's naked from the waist up. It's hard to see her boobs, but apparently they were there at one point. And here's the palm she's holding on this side. All these goddesses had their own, symbols that they always appeared with so they could be recognized. Like, let's see, the next one is Pax, the god Pax. Pax is holding an olive branch. Pax is peace. And to pay so fast, I think you have to put your credit card info in like your phone, like have it remember it automatically. Okay, so Pax is a Apple Pay. Yeah, Apple Pay. So again, all of these coins are pretty much $495, and you can DM me after the fact if you want a silver chain. I'll make it in whatever size you want. So Pax is holding an olive branch. Olive branches have been a symbol of peace since, 2,000 years. Also holding a scepter, symbol of power. I think from what I see here, it looks like he's wearing an Egyptian-style snake headdress, but I could be totally off there. Pax was the Roman goddess of peace and the daughter of so she was the daughter of Jupiter and Justice, the goddess Justice. So she was a combination of strength and fairness. The coin was minted in 239 AD, so we're getting into the later part of the Roman Empire now. And Pax wasn't always a god that was worshipped throughout like the old Republic of Rome and all the way through. It's not an old god, it's a new god. It's a god that was a little bit invented by these later Roman gods to try to keep the peace, hold people together at a time where there was a lot of conflict in the empire, there's a lot of fracturing. So they invented these sort of newer gods and goddesses and said, like, peace is one of the virtues of Rome. It's one of the tenets of Rome, and we're going to worship this god, Pax. So the ruler Antoninus, sorry, I don't know them. I'm like learning as we go. But this dude was like, this is what the people need right now. They need the goddess. They need me to be associated with Pax Romana. Okay. I don't know if it's sold yet, but we can send you an invoice and it's $495. Sold. Okay. Next is, I've got 2 Jupiters. Jupiter is a really interesting god. Who knows about Jupiter? This one's incredible because you can actually see, look at the abs. You can see the 6-pack on this guy. Jupiter was the king of the Roman gods. He was sort of easily, he was related to Zeus. I think he was Zeus. Jupiter and Zeus is pretty much, they are the same. This coin was made in 225 AD. And Jupiter was the king of the gods like Zeus. He often was pictured with a thunderbolt, but not here. He's the god of the sky, thunder, and law and order. So he controlled the weather and he controlled like justice, pretty much, keeping the peace. He was associated with treaties, oaths, and alliances. This one's actually 425, not 495. And let me see. What do I need to know here? Sold. Oh wait, you know what? I confused him with someone else. I'm reading off of this guy, but they're both Jupiter. Same dude. This guy, let me see. On this coin, he says Iovi Volturi, which means to Jupiter the Avenger. And that's all I have to say about that. It's silver. It's awesome. And the first one, the reason I want to talk about this one a little bit more is because I guess I am the coin nerd that I was talking about, and I can't let it go. I got to tell you about this, okay? First of all, you can see the costume he's wearing. He has a really long robe on that's hanging down his left shoulder. This is called a chlamys, Chlammys. And it was like a super, super, super long piece of wool that you would wear in cold weather. Rich people wore it. It's just a really specific costume thing, which is pretty exciting. And this is not a silver coin. It's a bronze coin. It's an alloy. It's thin. It's lightweight. It was called a phallus. Phallus literally means bag because it was worth so little that you'd carry around a bag of these. It was sort of like crappy pocket change. You couldn't buy much with a phallus. And I hope you like my nerdy talk about the phallus, okay? That's it. It's sold. Second Jupiter is a little bit nicer quality, was worth more. It's silver. It's still Jupiter. To Jupiter, the Avenger, it says on it, which is pretty dang. I have the last Roman coin in my lineup here is Fortuna. Okay. Fortuna was, let's see. This is a denarius, which is the main coin of Rome. It's sort of like their dollar. Fortuna was a tricky kind of goddess, okay? This is $425. She didn't necessarily mean good fortune. She meant fortune. She's holding the rudder of a boat, meaning she's steering the ship. Fortune. You are a child of fortune, daughter of fortune. She's running the show. She's steering the boat, okay? She also has a globe. She's holding her rudder on top of a globe. It's hard to see, but it's a little globe down there. In the other hand, she has a cornucopia. So she has control over the fecundity of the crops, over the luck of your life. And like I said, it's not always good. She was a fickle goddess. Sometimes your luck is bad. That's your bad fortune. Sometimes your luck is good. That's your good fortune. If you wanted pure good luck, you might go for a different goddess like Felicitas, who is the goddess of felicity and great fortune. Okay. Fortuna is more of a mixed bag. Anyway, Septimus Severus used her as a propaganda tool. There he is in the year 196 or 197. This was metal detected in Hampshire in the UK. And $425. Did it sell? Are we?
Yeah.
What's still unsold? Do we know?
All of the coins have sold.
All the coins are gone.
The only unsold items are the pinchback 7 Pages of Man.
Ooh. Okay, put him here. Silver skull.
RR wax seal.
Mm-hmm.
And the emerald ring.
Oh, the emerald ring. Weird. Okay.
Right?
So the silver skull sold. I don't even know where the emerald ring is, but
On your hand? Yeah.
no, it's somewhere in my very large shag rug. Hold on, I'm gonna refresh my beverage. Anyone else need a beverage? Since I'm a mom of young children and I don't get to like go out at night anymore, this is like my party time, and I have 2 beers with you guys, which is pretty wild, I know. Here's number 2. Cheers. Mommy's ready to party. Okay, so God. Jesus Lord. Okay, so where are we? 308? Is that possible? Okay. We got a lot to go. I'm sort of moving a little slower than usual here. The emeralds did not sell yet. I don't know why. It's a great price. I don't know where the emeralds are, so maybe they will not sell. They're somewhere in my pile of sold items. I don't know, guys. I'm just not sure. Anything that doesn't sell here today, I'm going to put on the Instagram stories tomorrow. Yeah. Okay, we are about halfway through this party, a little more. Party. This is a Georgian sweetheart ring. It's very sweet with 2 hearts. It's size 7, but it's resizable. It's got that Georgian floral decoration on the band. It's just 10 karat gold, 1840s, English, something you'd give to your lover to show that you were modestly in love, something at the beginning of a relationship. And $900, size 7, 1840, 10 karat gold, English, unhallmarked because it was just like a super regional thing. Someone got it is hallmarked. It says 9 karat. It's just old, sweet, and little. An affordable, very old ring. $900. 10 karat, Georgian. Then, I know, isn't it so cute? And these hearts are lifted up a little bit so you can put them over whatever you're doing. Something about, usually I say 3s or 5s, an odd number is the right number for gemstones or whatever, but sometimes 2 is the magic number. Pretty cute. Sweetheart ring. And, oh God, my metal detector guy, I do some mild flirting with him. So he sometimes gives me things that are not coins. And this is a very old silver brooch. It's Roman style. It's called an annular brooch. Someone can tell me about pronunciation because I truly don't know. But these have been a style of clothing closure since at least ancient Rome. I'm not going to be able to stick it through my heavy ass sweatshirt, but it's $325. It's silver, and you would use it to either close a toga like this. You'd put it in, pull a little bit of fabric through, and it would hold it very secure. Got a very rudimentary, I don't know, what's this called? A pivoting pin. And it does have a hallmark, CP. It's old, and hand cut, hand hammered. EA Hicks 5, you missed all the coins, baby. Sorry. This one's $325, metal detected in the north of England. And this is either Stuart or Tudor. So this could be like Elizabethan. People were using these from the year 0 to the year 1600. It all depended. Sort of like a safety pin. It could have been used at any point, but for $325, you get something that's hundreds of years old, totally wearable, has so much, can you see the scratches and the hammer marks? I mean, come on, man. The hand that made these has been dust for half a millennium. It's incredible. $325. Stuart Tudor annular brooch. And those sort of simple maker's marks are impossible to trace. I mean, England has a really good record of hallmarks for years and hallmarks for metal content, but the makers over the years are two stews. They do wear those cloaks. They do be wearing them. Pennanula, usually Scottish. Oh, thanks, Gloria. You teach me. Okay, next up, speaking of brooches, I am not a huge brooch wearer, but I am a huge lover of, God, that looks so ugly in the ring light. I'm sorry. This agate, this sort of picture agate, that the Georgians made into a big ass brooch. It is luscious. It's a great piece of brown and tan mottled agate. I'm going to try to move this so it's not reflecting this light. It's totally opaque. It's not see-through, but you can see the swirls. It sort of looks like almost an image of the desert from above. And the back is just as beautiful. It's a slice of really earthy brown agate. And the pin is just like you'd want to see from the early 1800s. This is the technology you're looking for to date a pin. It's got this little tube, and then the pin that goes through the tube that allows it to move like this. There's no safety clasp. That happened in the 20th century, the kind that would like sort of flips over to hold it. All you have is this C-clasp. This is 19th century. Yeah, this is a dank little rock. It's $425, which is a stupidly good price. It's set in rose gold. It's got that collet setting that's just right for the Georgian era. It's tight, it's handmade, it's delicious. And if you got a piece of big ass knitwear, let me see, how can I make this better for you guys? Nearly impossible to display. Yeah, it would be great on a winter coat lapel. I would never wear a brooch like this. That is about the nerdiest thing I can possibly imagine. So let me see, what am I going to do with it? The prices are good. They're really good. You know what I would do? Put this in my dang hair. I don't have a lot of hair. Although someone asked me how I keep my hair so voluminous, and I almost kissed them. Someone asked me on this live. I'm like, it is an illusion, sister. So it's in my hair. Hard to see, but it is. And it is sold. Okay. Crazy. You guys, it's crazy. Sweetheart ring. Silver Tudor brooch. Oh, the next one is something, I've never sold anything this way. It's 4 pieces that are supposed to go together. And I'm going to try to give someone the opportunity to buy them together before I sell them separately. Okay, so does anyone know what a chatelaine is? A chatelaine is, it's sort of like a piece of jewelry you'd wear on your belt. And it's less jewelry than it was a set of tools in the 18th and 19th century. Women would wear them. Okay, so basically it would be attached to your belt on a long chain, and that chain, the tools could then go into your pocket, your like dress pocket, I guess. It's all 4 of the pieces are $750, and it's interesting because they're made of steel. I've never seen a steel chatelaine stuff before, and they're all very useful objects. Well, this one's not useful. This one's a horseshoe, and it's just purely for good luck. Alone, you could buy this. Let me see. I am selling the pieces separately. This is like $200. 1830, I would date all of these pieces at. I would like to sell them together because they're originally all together. One of the coolest things about it is it has an 1830s steel split ring. So, split rings are so goddamn fiery hot right now to make charm necklaces. If you want an 1830s split ring in steel, buy this for $200 and throw away the horseshoe. I'm just kidding. Don't throw away the horseshoe. But all of these have steel split rings. Split ring being a sort of hardware store keychain type closure that you use to attach it to a chain. My favorite of the 4 pieces is this one. It's like a little box or container, and inside is this now very hard material. I did some research. I cleaned it off. I boiled it, believe it or not. I sniffed it. I tried to melt it. I tried to smash it. Turns out what it is, I think, is this material called Stockholm Sweden tar. And it's made from the pine tree. It's like a resinous, dark material that's a natural antibiotic. It repels insects. And back then it was used for 2 things. One for like scratches, scrapes, like I said, mild antiseptic. Did I say antibiotic? It's not. It's an antiseptic. Or you also used it for horses, on horses' hooves. And it's dried up now, but if you scratch it and sniff it, you get a little bit of pine resin flavor, which is how I identified it. People don't use it anymore, but back then it would have been a really useful household item for kids, horses, yourself. Button hook, extremely useful if you are using this as the lady of the house or like a servant. You'd need to help your lady button her shoes. Shoes had a lot of buttons back then. And I imagine since this chatelaine set is steel and not like gold, it would have been owned by like a lady's maid in a fine house, or a homeowner's wife who is like not filthy rich. If you were filthy rich, you'd have a chatelaine with like gems all over it. The last of the chatelaine pieces is a wheeled pin cushion. Pins, there's still some pins in here, actually. Also made of steel, but handmade and a different, sized heads. I'm going to break my nail if I pull that out, but they do come out. And I've seen them, and they're steel. Not stainless steel, but just handmade steel pins. I don't know why you'd need to, turn this like a wheel, but pins were used, yes, in sewing, but more in everyday life. Like to pin a dress together, to pin your hairdo, to pin your petticoat together. It's cool. It's $750 for the set, and if you want to buy it alone, the horseshoe is $200. The button hook is like $175. The pin cushion is $225, and the Stockholm tar container, my favorite, is $225. $750 for the lot. Kind of a wild card, right? But I love it. Let's see. Oh, next one is not so wild. I feel like this is just useful in everyday life. It's a little acorn. Acorns were the symbol of kind of new beginnings, but more than that, they were hopeful beginnings. Because acorns are a tiny little nut that can grow a gigantic oak tree. So there's a lot of potential here in this little nut. And that's what it was symbolizing back then. This, I'm dating to the 1910s. Coolest thing about it is it opens, and inside there's a silver cigarette, extendable, telescoping cigarette, I don't know, what do you call it, filter holder. Put your little cig in there. So useful, right? It actually comes apart into 3 pieces. Here's 1, 2, 3. You fold it up, you put it in your nut, you bring it to the club. I feel like this is, a lot of these cigarette holders were deco flapper kind of things, but this feels a little bit older to me. There's hand engraving on the top, and inside there's like a wood lining. I don't know why. I don't know why, but it's like a little thin wood lining. The price is $650. It's so cute. It's just 1/2 inch long, and it's silver. It's actually, I didn't even look for the hallmarks on this. I just got it. I see some very, very, very worn hallmarks. They do not look English. It's probably like German or something. Weimar. Cool. Yeah, it's raining here. It's been raining all day, and I've had no internet in my house, and the power went out. Okay, acorn cigarette holder, $650. Background ambiance. Can you hear the rain outside my studio? Huh. The blunt rotation. Yeah, I think I'm getting a German vibe. I'm getting a Black Forest kind of Weimar vibe from that acorn. 16. Okay, next up. Oh, this piece is weird as hell. I imagine that, I don't know, for some reason I feel like no one's going to buy this or everyone's going to want it. So let's see how that goes. It's $275, and it's somebody's, maybe a gambler's, lucky charm. This is a set of coins that have been touched and rubbed so many times that the faces have been completely wiped away. And this brass wax seal also has been held, talismanically rubbed, touched so many times. There's nothing left here to stamp. The oldest of the coins you can actually see is from, yeah, weird as hell. This is from King George I's reign. So this could be 1760s. Some gambler was, really needed this lucky charm. $275. It's one of those things that's worth very little, except to a person who can feel the energy of weird ass things. These coins could be from later or from earlier. We truly do not know. Well, later, because I don't think they started doing this fluting thing until later. But yeah, this could be 1780, 1810. Either very lucky or very unlucky, but definitely, I mean, how did this survive? $275. Gambler's lucky charm. Had to have it, Okay, so next up, Niello. I'm never going to have an Instagram live and not have a Niello something or other in the mix. This is a Niello locket made around 1900. And this pattern, you probably know from like, how old is the wax fob? This one, we just don't know. I think this is like probably late 1700s. But like the details have been lost. The only thing we know is that someone needed to touch it obsessively. This locket's just under an inch tall. It opens from the top, which is very cute, very 20th century, very modern. Let me see if I can open it for you. Still has the original paper inside, but I cleaned it and I took out the lenses, the little celluloid lenses. They were so yellow that you don't want them. Believe me, you do not want them anymore. Sold. Looks like someone just bought something for $350. So, okay. Niello is adorable and affordable and just kind of fantastic. There was a time where I was doing things chronologically, but now is not that time. So we're going back in time, 2,000 years, to the 1st century AD. This is a bead, a pretty decent sized bead. It's Roman. It looks kind of like ancient Egyptian. It's faience, which was this blue kind of ceramic that the ancient Egyptians loved to use. It was a combination of alkali, lime, silica, and copper that they could put into a mold. It's like a clay, and then fire up, and it made this awesome matte greenish blue color. Now, the Romans were obsessed with the Egyptians, so they started building their own faience works, factories to make this kind of decorative pottery. Mostly they made jewelry out of it. So this is Roman, not Egyptian. It's from the 1st or 2nd century AD, and I'm selling it just like it is for $350. It was found in England. It just came to the surface. Obviously, you can't detect it. It's not metal, but this stuff was around. A broken necklace of Roman faience. I would encourage you to put it on your own chain. It's so awesome. $350. 1st or 2nd century AD. The hole inside is almost a centimeter. It's like 0.8 centimeters. So it can take, pretty decent sized chain. And it's just kind of fantastic. I'm about to sell its much smaller twin sister coming up. Yeah, that's next. This next one is something I've been wearing. Okay. Faience bead is sold for $350. This guy's $600. It's gold. It's a smaller bead. Also, put it on a chain of your choice. This is my chain. It doesn't come with the chain, although I can sell you a chain like this for like $200. It's just gold. Or buy a chain on Catbird, or put it on your own chain. It's got, it's just a gold circular bead. I didn't test it because, quite honestly, didn't have time. I just got this yesterday. But to me, it looks something like 14, somewhere between 12 and 18 karat, probably around 15 karat. Just a wild guess. But this has so few clear characteristics telling me what era it was from that I'm dating it between the 1st century and the 11th century. It could be Roman, it could be Anglo-Saxon. But the person I bought it from, another metal detector weirdo, a little less weird than the first one. Those are the dates they gave me, and they seem to know these things, so I'm passing that on to you. $600, gold alloy, found in Suffolk, an area of the UK where there was a lot of Anglo-Saxon settlements. And it is so awesome. If you have a multiple charm necklace set up, which I should probably just make one sitting right here. Put this on one end, and it's gonna look really rad. I'll put some things that haven't sold yet onto the chain, so you can just take a look at them. Has that little cigarette holder acorn sold?
Not yet.
Okay, so there's my charms. There's my bead. So that's a pretty good balance right there. $600 for the Anglo-Saxon bead from the 11th century in gold. Dug right out of the damn ground. Imagine digging in a potato field and finding this and being like, what the hell? Hold on, lipstick reapplication. Any questions? Yeah. Okay, so the next thing, so cool. 7 stages of man. Dank. it's like a memento mori in a lot of ways, you know? Remind you that life is for living, and sort of for every season. For everything, there's a season. Okay. The next thing I have here is a little bit, it's $175 first, so. Wait, what was the price on the bead? $600. And the 7 Stages of Man is $1,250. Which is a extremely decent price. 1830s pinchback and coral. Next thing is something I have very little information on, but I just had a feeling. I had a vibe. It's some sort of fossilized coral, maybe, or maybe one of you guys can tell me. But somebody sometime carved it into a really primitive heart. Okay, it's $175. I put the 14 karat like jumbo ring on it, but I didn't even really know I had this until I unpacked a bag of like really garbagey charms and like dusty, buggy findings that I'd bought in London in the spring. And to get this thing I really wanted, which is now sold, I had to buy a box of, Petoskey stone, possibly. I had to buy a whole box of crap that I didn't really want. So, of course, I'm a hoarder and I don't throw stuff away. But this thing could be so old. I bought it in England in a shoebox outside of London, in the suburbs of London, at a flea market outside from a guy who was just dealing stuff out of his car. So if it's Petoskey stone from America, why was it in England? I don't know. Could be 20th century, could be 12th century. We don't know, but it's sold now. When you get it, you'll see what I mean. It's got like a very like loving kind of energy. And I'm not that into like the energy of jewelry always, but you'll see. It's like silky and soft. Next up, we got creatures. I don't have that many animals for sale, but I do have this one. It's a parrot. Parrots were, in the Victorian era, parrots were like extremely exotic. And anyone who could keep a parrot as a pet, that was sort of like a sign of your worldliness and, sophistication. So parrots, we sometimes have like jeweled parrots. This is, it's amazing. It's $545. It's sort of like an Essex crystal, which is where it looks 3-dimensional in there, but it's not. It's carved onto the reverse of the glass and then painted onto the reverse of the glass. So it's like indented in there. But then someone put another half circle of glass on the back, which is insane. You can see exactly how it was made. I guess it is Essex crystal, but it seems like glass. But what the hell? Like, actually, what the hell? And if it's basically, I think I wrote on my paper, WTF. But the details are so good. It's hand-painted, hand-carved, silver. I don't totally know how to identify it because I'm not an Essex crystal expert, but if it is Essex crystal, you're getting the deal of the century. $545. But it's definitely like 1870s. And it's on the chain that it came with, which looks like it's from like maybe 1910 or 1930 or something. I've got another heart. There's a lot of hearts in this lineup. This one is $750, which is, I had to look twice because that's actually a very good price. It's from the 16th century. It's a Tudor heart made in silver. 16th century, guys. This is like the 1500s. This is before the Great Fire of London. This is before the bubonic plague of the 1660s. This is 1500s. $750. It's just under an inch tall. It's silver with gilt traces, hand engraved. I don't see any specifically religious imagery, but I'm sure it was, because literally everyone was just like eat, sleep, breathe Jesus Christ back then. So I'm sure it was something to do with like the passion of your love for God or something or other, although nothing stylistically is telling me that. Oh, it's sold. Yeah, anyone who knows really old Stuart and Tudor jewelry, this is a screaming deal. Screaming deal. $750. There's no Tudor and Stuart anything, anywhere. So, good job. Also, towards the end of each Instagram live, I like to put in a piece of hair jewelry, because you guys are such freaks and you're all whipped up about it. So normally hair jewelry with exposed hair we don't really sell much of it. I think we have one great piece in right now, but this won my heart because it's a barrel shape, aka whoever's hair this was loved beer just as much as I do. $795, 1870-ish in gold, rosy gold. The hair is absolutely immaculate. Like there's no hair that's come loose or anything. It's got great little details and it is ready to wear, baby. I washed it really, really well in like scalding hot water and dish soap. It wasn't like dirty, but now it's very clean. This is totally wearable. $795. The heart looks like it's sold, but it's off the chart. I've never seen anything that was like, you know what? Beer. What do I want to be remembered by? That I loved beer. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that this person had died and this was their memorial. Actually, I'm pretty sure that is not what this piece was made for. It was made for as a friendship kind of item, maybe for a drinking buddy. And it's just been purchased. You guys, you're so silly. It's so silly that you guys will spend $700 on an Instagram live on a hairy beer barrel. Yeah, it is cool. Next one is, it's $450. There's a lot going on here. So much going on. Look at all this text. If you ever go shopping with me for antiques, you'll know that if I see a shitload of text, that's the first thing I want to see. This is a ring with a lot of identifiable history. It was made in 1893 by the Gorham Silver Company, which was an American silver manufacturer based in Providence, Rhode Island, the home of